All right, let's go to Adam Schefter, who's got more on this pick.
He was credited with having one of the biggest plays in college football this season. Late in the game, he picked off the quarterback and ran the entire field to score the game-winning touchdown. He did everything a coach would want to see, from baiting the quarterback to reading the downfield blocks. He flashed enough playmaking ability in that game and the remainder of the season to draw a lot of interest this offseason. This team has to be pretty happy with this pick.
Now that the Jets have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about him.
Matt Miller and a number of other scouts told me he was their favorite offensive lineman to watch at the All-Star game. Following a great senior year, he came into All-Star week looking like one of the better lineman prospects this year. And right from the start, the coaches challenged him using blitz packages and other stunts to see how he would react. He handled everything that was thrown at him and not once looked overwhelmed or gassed from the extra attention. Todd McShay tells me he looked like a dominant force on the line, keeping the quarterback clean and opening holes for the tailback to run through. He should be a great fit on this team's offensive line and possibly a day one starter.
Eagles have made their selection. For more about him, let's go to Adam Schefter.
No receiver put on a greater show at his pro day than he did. His former coach told me he purposefully had the quarterback throw the ball away from his body during passing drills. It forced him to react to the ball, extend for it, and make some spectacular catches. If he can make those same catches with NFL-caliber defenders covering him, he has the potential to be a dangerous weapon, and that's exactly what the team is hoping for.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. I see both teams filling out cards. You know what that means? We've got a trade. The 49ers are now on the clock. All right, now that the pick's in, let's go to Adam. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
His college career came to an abrupt end this year when he was suspended from the team. I spoke with the school's athletic director, and he told me it was due to an academic violation. He was on probation and close to failing several courses before the decision was made between the director and his coach. He was able to turn his grades around, but his draft stock took a hit when the news broke. Scouts weren't too bothered by his academic issues, but his lack of playing time made it harder to evaluate him with the rest of his class. And now that he's drafted, I don't think the team is too concerned with his grades either.
Our very own Adam Schefter has more to say about this pick.
Matt Miller told me to look at a certain stat in regards to this defensive back, and that's average number of targets in a game. Not surprisingly, you see that number start to fall each week. He was a master of the bait and switch early in the year, on track to break records midway through the season. Eventually, quarterbacks gave up altogether trying to throw the ball in his direction, essentially taking away a receiver on every play. There's going to be an adjustment period now that he's in the NFL, but he certainly has the potential to be a shutdown defender for this team in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a trade. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Bears have just made Bruton their newest player.
Showing up to the combine overweight and then turning in a subpar performance caused him to plummet in several mocks leading up to the draft. Most of the scouts I spoke with could not understand how this kid could let himself go as he neared the most important day of his playing career. This led to several others questioning his mental integrity, willpower over food, and passion for the game. I can only imagine his new team will have him on a plane tonight to meet with its nutritionist and strength and conditioning team, likely to get him into a regimented routine within a week. When in shape, he's the kind of player that can make a true impact at the NFL level, but he has to avoid eating himself out of the league, a trap that so many rookies have fallen into in the past.
Let's go to Adam Schefter now. He's got more to say about the Redskins' latest pick.
A high-flying, hard-hitting defensive back, he was the subject of much criticism earlier this year after being unable to put together consistent performances week to week. Consistency doesn't even do the roller coaster of emotions he went through justice. A better description may have been puzzling. After turning in an exceptional performance in week 1 with 2 picks, he was downright terrible in week 2, being burned for 3 touchdowns. Week 3 saw him force a fumble and return it for a touchdown, and then week 4 saw him get beat on plays that led to critical scores and a close loss. The pendulum continued to swing both ways throughout the entire year, prompting one scout I spoke with to nickname him the Enigma. This pick could have a huge upside, providing this coaching staff has the patience for him to develop into a much more consistent player.
The Bills are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. Let's go to Adam now, who's got more on the 49ers' latest pick.
He's a Heisman winning defender. Let me say that one more time. He won the Heisman, and he's a defensive player. Need I say more? You can imagine how well he played this season to win the biggest award in college over several offensive playmakers. The trophy was well-deserved, and according to Matt Miller, he projects really well as a defender in the NFL. I think this is a home run pick, and it's great to see a defender get some well-deserved recognition.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
He's a durable lineman who set a team record for consecutive starts, never missing a game throughout a decorated 4-year college career. Ross Tucker praised his footwork leading up to the combine, where he did not disappoint, solidifying his position as the draft's top offensive line prospect. He has the potential to be the cornerstone of this offensive line for years to come and should provide consistent protection for a franchise quarterback. This is a great pick.
The Rams are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock.
Well, if you're wondering what the delay is, I think we've got a trade coming here.
The Cardinals are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock. Now that the Texans have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more.
Long talked about as a top 3 defensive back prospect, his draft stock fell dramatically after a series of consecutive struggles late in the season against inferior wide receivers. Many speculated that these struggles were due to a series of nagging injuries, a theory which may have been validated by his strong performance at his pro day. I was able to talk with several GMs about him at the Combine, and they told me he possesses the raw physical skills needed to become a top-tier NFL defensive back. 3 skills in particular were mentioned by every GM I spoke to: exceptional physicality at the line of scrimmage, a nose for the ball, and better hands than most receivers they've seen and scouted. The reason for his collegiate struggles may forever be shrouded in mystery, but they'll soon be forgotten if he's able to realize his full football potential.
The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock.
Hold on now. This pick is trading teams.
The Vikings are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. All right, team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
The broad jump is a good test of a player's lower body strength, burst, and balance. Obviously, those are all important qualities any NFL running back must have. In his case, he had one of the shorter broad jumps among tailbacks at the combine. According to Matt Miller, this may impact his ability to break arm tackles and burst through an opening in the line. We'll see if he can overcome his shortcomings and have success running the football for this team.
The Giants are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock.